World of Warcraft Classic has been out for about 2 weeks, and it has been the biggest launch of an MMO since World of Warcraft Vanilla. That's staggering because this game is 15 years old. Is this all just hype, or is this game actually fun to play? Today, that's what I want to find out. Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Hair Gaming. My name is Rich. And before I get started, I wanted to first take a second to apologize for the sound quality. I just moved into a new office, and I don't have much as far as decorations go, so until I can get that done, it's probably going to be a little bit echoey. So with that said, let's move on. I first came into World of Warcraft back in the original launch. I didn't come right as it launched, but I did get in within the first couple of months, and I played up through Wrath of the Lich King. I took a break for about 10 years from all PC gaming and went to console gaming. Don't hate me. And I came back for the Battle for Azeroth free-to-play weekend that Blizzard had going on. Now, before I get too far into this, I do like Battle for Azeroth. There's a lot of fun stuff to do in it. There's a ton of stuff to do endgame. And I just got into the raiding, which I gotta say is as good as ever, if not better. Much more complicated than what we're used to from a Molten Core standpoint or something like that. But that's a whole nother story. I also got access to the World of Warcraft Classic Beta. And that came at a perfect time because I had just got introduced to Battle for Azeroth. I had just gotten my feet wet in there. And it gave me a look back to Classic. And what I saw was everything that I was familiar with. I knew what to expect. I knew the landscape. And so from that point, I thought, hey, this is great nostalgia, but I just don't think it's going to keep me long term. Now, Classics had its challenges trying to even come into existence, starting from Blizzard themselves, telling us that we didn't know what we really wanted.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't. Remember when you had to spam cities and say, need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon. You don't want to do that.
After that, we had people like Mark Kern, a previous developer, who took everybody's desire to Blizzard, plus the community itself pushing so hard with Blizzard, finally got this thing into motion. As it developed, people were getting excited, the game got hyped, and nobody thought it would do what it has done. Since launch, this has been the #1 game in view hours on Twitch, taking out things like Fortnite and all the esports games that get all this attention. This 15-year-old game is getting more watch hours. That is incredible. Queues to get into the game. My own personal experience, I could not get into the game for 2 days. Now I waited in queues and somehow I missed it or got disconnected, and that was very, very frustrating trying to get into this game. But I finally got in. I had everybody set up, all our friends, so we finally all got in and we got to play together. And the game, while we know what it is, and while it's familiar and everything from 15 years ago, this game, I've been in BFA since April, so not a long time, but enough time to get a feel for what day-to-day activity is on the server, that kind of thing. In this game, Classic feels alive. It is everybody's running around. There are tons of people running in the cities, shouting in trade, making groups out in the quest areas, killing mobs together, trade skills, you name it. Everything is going. It's live. It's a beautiful thing to witness because BFA just not as happening. And it's sad to say that a 15-year-old game has turned into what BFA is as far as attendance goes and what people's desire to play it. But this launch really shows what World of Warcraft can be if it's done correctly. There's real world PvP. Now, I know there's ganking and real-world PvP in the game, and that really kind of came back in Nashtar, and they're putting things into the game to kind of encourage real-world. But back in the day, that's all there was. And that, I think, was a little more organic, a little more natural feeling than what we have now, where you have battlegrounds and arenas, and then you have the open-world PvP. Open-world PvP doesn't turn into just PvP. It ends up just being Gank City. And I think when you don't have the options for battlegrounds, you have organized world PvP. People organizing raids and stuff like that to bring that flavor into the game. And it just, these systems, while they're not quote-unquote systems by design, these are things that make people create. They make the world living. They give this life that it normally doesn't have. And these are the things that a tightly developed and ultra streamlined system like Battle for Azeroth, it's losing, because everything is laser focused in Battle for Azeroth. You get into a dungeon, you don't talk, you kill things as fast as possible, which means skipping as much as possible, no downtime, no talking, no nothing. Shut up, kill stuff, and let's get out of here, is kind of the attitude around dungeons in BFA. Now, that isn't helped by the fact that they give you a key every week, and they give you better rewards based on how fast you can clear the dungeon. So these things, even in when you're not running your keys, are practice for running your keys. So nobody wants to spend time talking and wasting time. It's called wasting time in this because you now have a target. Before, it was just hanging out and having a good time and chit-chatting while you're running a dungeon, while you're drinking your water, while you're eating your food, while you're getting your buffs. Whatever the case may be, that is back in Classic, and the community feels better. Another thing that I like is they took us back to a time where only Horde can be Shaman and only Alliance can be Paladin. I remember, now, while we're going back through this as veteran players, we realize, oh, look, we know what these things are because we've been there, done that. But I remember back when I started my Shaman, and I got to Stranglethorn Vale, and the first time I saw a Paladin, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. Never seen them, didn't know what they did, didn't know about their bubble hearthing, stupid trick, but I didn't know about any of that kind of stuff. And that added to mystique, and I wish they would have kept that kind of stuff in the game and maybe even expanded on it. But I think unfortunately, we have a crybaby culture that has to whine if they don't have access. So if I wanted to play Horde, there's people that were crying because I didn't get to be a Paladin and I'm paying $15 just like everybody else. Switch servers, make an Alliance character. Quit your freaking crying. Golly, man, it ruins it for everybody that enjoys that kind of stuff. I mean, they put it into the game for a reason. I think people need to get thicker skin and grow up a little bit when it comes to that kind of stuff. So is Classic worth all the hype? Is it as fun as everybody thinks it is? Right now, hell yeah, it is. In fact, this is the last time anybody's ever going to be able to get into the ground floor of World of Warcraft again, where you don't have millionaires, you don't have people with 50 million mounts because they don't exist in this game. There's a real opportunity to get in a game where your character matters and your reputation matters. And this is your last opportunity. If you aren't in there yet, I would recommend getting in there and checking it out. The pace is slower, I will agree with that, but that gives you time to enjoy people and to enjoy other parts of the game. Everything works in synergy to create a much better community and something that will last, and memories that will last, not just a, hey, do you remember that 3-minute clear of AD? What a joke. Check it out. I think you'll like it. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to hear more of my content, please hit the subscribe button, and please hit the bell notification. I hear that's doing more for YouTube creators nowadays than it used to. So please, let me know what you think about your classic experience. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.